My abstinent date is June 27, 2014. I just celebrated 5 years back. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, God. I'm abstinent by the grace of God in this wonderful community of GreySheeters Anonymous, and a day at a time, a meal at a time. And I have gotten so much help here, and I'm a guy who can be helped. So it was easy to accept the help, but I didn't always know where I needed help. So that's the question for me. Do I need help here, or what's the issue going on? So I just like to keep it as simple as possible and just say that, when I came into GreySheet, I was in OA for 18 years. Maybe I'd have 6 months, a year abstinence or whatever. And I really didn't take it that seriously. I mean, I was up in my weight and all that other stuff, but I still had some power over the food. I was a long distance runner. I could starve myself, I still had some tricks. And I had moved from Bernardston, Massachusetts, up to Putney, Vermont. And I was going to some OA meetings, and the woman who was sharing the OA meetings, a 90-day OA, and there was only one person who was abstinent, and she was different, and her mantra was different, and everything about her was different. Maybe I was 19 years sober at that time, mochas in the food. I mean, I really didn't realize it. She was GreySheet abstinent. It just didn't occur to me. But she was bringing these speakers who were amazing, and they were following her suit, and they all had these huge eyes, and they were like floodlights. And I mean, I wanted to get up and run around the block every time they talked. I mean, I knew I was in the right place with the right people at the right time. And she brought this one woman over, Sally, who died in about 2007, I think, maybe 2006. She was a wonderful woman. And there was an OA meeting over in Peterborough, New Hampshire, with the GreySheet contingency. The meeting was probably 50 strong with 20 GreySheeters there. And so I started going over there, and her and her husband, George, was instrumental in the GreySheet itself, the beginnings of it. And I still didn't have a clue. I just didn't have a clue. I was mochas. And one day, Sally said, "We can't help you here in Overeaters Anonymous. If you want to live, go to Cambridge at 11 Garden Street," and gave me directions. That was a Tuesday night in about 2004, 2003, something like that. I went to that meeting and got abstinent and stayed abstinent. And when I walked into that meeting, the greeter there was an AA meeting going across the room. She didn't say, there's AA over there. Are you looking for OA GreySheet or GreySheet? Or she just said, "Sit up front, honey. I'll be up there when the meeting starts." And the woman who shared, who I'm dear, dear friends with today, who qualified that day, said, "If you want to know why you ate, stop eating." And then she said, this is the only way that she has found to reparent herself. And those two things really stuck in my mind. Then she took me out afterwards. I didn't ask if she was a professional woman. I didn't ask her if she had time. In my head, thought she was very blessed to bring me, to teach me to read labels and to get a scale. And we went to Staples and Whole Foods, and she spent a couple hours with me. And it never occurred to me until I was abstinent this time, some 10 years later, the service she did for me. I mean, that's how consumed in self I was, or mochas, whatever it was. But I wasn't on time, I'll tell you that. And, I got abstinent, and it was really amazing. I was flying all over the place, Austin, Texas, Florida, California. I would stay in Boston weeks at a time, New York weeks at a time, and I just had fun. I had a lot of fun. I had a younger child, and I was able to do a lot of things. And so why would I divert myself from my primary purpose and not stay abstinent? I have this other thing going on that I have this disease to please. And this one woman who I was in OA with and all, who did GreySheet as well, called me, and she called me and said, I don't know whether I'm going to Cambridge or Vermont. Well, I thought, what a lucky guy am I, huh? And she came to Vermont, and I thought, oh my God, you know, Mocus. And anyway, that didn't work out. It was fun in the beginning for maybe the first year or two, but it didn't work out, and I lost my abstinence. I stopped going to GreySheeters Anonymous, stopped going to AA, stopped going to everything. Shame filled in, and the disease had me, the insanity that precedes the first drink, the first compulsive bite. And eventually I picked up a drink 5 years later. My youngest child, and this isn't because I picked up a drink, but I had no group behind me. I had no AA behind me, no GreySheet behind me. And my youngest child was transitioning from female to male. And there was a lot of discrimination where I lived. I had to go to battle with the state, with the school district. I'm good at that one. I'm good. I mean, and it's like a resentment, taking the poison to hurt the other person. It was all inside of me. I can still sense that residual that was left, that fighting, awful, awful place. And so I was, some AA guys called me. They brought me down to the VA hospital. I was right on a locked ward, 66 years old. They didn't put me on the alcohol ward. They said, Mr. Haley, we really think it'd be best if you went on the locked ward. I had the 1,000-yard stare. I am a combat veteran, and you know, and I had a lot of, I hadn't been on a locked ward for 35 years. And why I was on a locked ward back then was I shot myself right here. That bullet is still in my humerus. And, well, I shot myself, and it kind of ricocheted all over and landed in my humerus. And the universe has a sense of humor. I almost bled to death, but I wasn't going to shoot my way out of this one. And so anyway, on leaving the locked ward, I literally forgot that I had a food problem. I'm 120 pounds more than I am now. I'm on diabetes medication, high blood pressure medication. I mean, my life is going to hell. I know I'm a drunk, but I'm like, the food, you know, was still, and I had two people in particular calling me. And they called me for 6 years. And I turned my food over the day I get out of the VA hospital, and I've been abstinent ever since. Now, I just didn't get abstinent. I was on every meeting I could get to. I did every service I could do. I drove from Vermont to Cambridge, which is a 6-hour round trip, to Westport, a 7-hour round trip in Connecticut, to Watertown in Massachusetts, to face it not once a month, 2 times, 3 times a week. I was not, pardon my French, I was not fucking around anymore. I knew this disease wanted me dead, and it settles for miserable. And I did anything and everything I could to stay abstinent. And everything, every good thing, every bad thing, everything I came out of, I utilized. I internalized, I integrated in my system, and I knew that I had to do all the things, do the steps again, get my sponsor, weigh and measure my food without exception. Nothing came before that. I truly knew what abstinence was. Abstinence is, you know, it's the most important thing in my life without exception. There was no more bullshit. No more, well, my kids, my 5 more minutes, thank you, Teddy. My kids, my this, my that, my my car, my money, my no. If I'm not abstinent, I'm not sober. If I'm not abstinent, I'm not nothing. I'm a big blob. They're not even calling me Jack. They're saying, hey, you. I'm done. I'm done. I am done. And, you know, I lost that weight in about 9 months, 10 months. I got off that medication also in about 9, 10 months through a doctor. I started to chair meetings, everything I could, anything I could to stay abstinent. And I love my food. because of catastrophic medical bills. There was all kinds of attachments on my home. I was going to go into foreclosure, but the VA paid for it. But it's the same difference. I had to leave my home, which I had a lot of money into. I lost a lot, and I stayed abstinent. A year ago, year and a half ago, I swallowed by accident this piece of plastic, which the surgeon gave me. It cut off my lower bowel. I was in the emergency room. They did emergency major surgery on me. I was almost septic, and people sent me scales. They had one woman from Michigan, had a person from the local hardware store walk me a scale over that day. They didn't ask me how I felt. They asked me, do you have a scale? You know, my sponsor says, tell them you are pre-diabetic. You were. And once I mentioned that, everybody did whatever I wanted to do. I just graduated from teacher yoga training. I'm 71. I'm teaching yoga now. I went from an Irish Catholic Philadelphia hoodlum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to a yoga teacher in Vermont. This is hilarious. It's hilarious. It's really hilarious. I mean, come on, give me a break, you know? That woman that shared, we just led the Connecticut retreat together. I just adore her. I just started new therapy today with a woman I used to do therapy before, somatic. When I left the community, the Connecticut retreat, I had a 3-day muscle spasm in my back, and I knew that something wasn't letting me go. I believe somatically something was holding on. It felt like a gunshot wound. And so that went away in 3 days, but I know that, you know, the body keeps score. I know a lot of people don't believe this, but I believe it, that the body heals the mind. And if I'm gray sheet abstinent using this nutritious food, it's not promising a medical solution, but it's a byproduct of that for me. It's given me a way of life that I can really exist and be part of life in a way that I never thought I could. And that's being useful here, useful in AA, useful to my children, useful to the community here. So many wonderful things have happened. And I've had to let go of a lot of things. And right now I'm going from transitioning from this, that, to the other, to integrating this beauty in my life, of letting go of a lot of things or integrating those things in my life. And doing the steps, we had a step community here. We did AWOLs, some of the people on here. And then we did How to Listen to God. I'm plugged in for 2 of them in September. And I think 1 in July, 1 this month, doing the steps. And those steps help me integrate that combat vet. I go from swift, silent, and deadly to gratitude, forgiveness, and loving kindness. I mean, that's the change. But that doesn't mean I throw those things away. It means that what I put first is the love is running the show today. That's it? Okay. So I just love my abstinence.
1 minute left.
Oh, thanks, Teddy. I love your abstinence. I need each and every one of you. I need to hear your story. I need to hear the ups and the downs. I need to hear that Gray Sheet works under any and all conditions. And that's truly why I'm here today, to know that Gray Sheet works under any and all conditions. So thank you all, and I'll pass with that.